our students display undesired behaviors that interfere with our plans for speech therapy. How do we manage these behaviors? Let me first say that when I came out of my graduate program, I had little to no experience in managing behaviors, especially when I was dealing with groups of students. I just didn't know what to do. We were not introduced to positive behavior intervention supports at that stage in the game. So over my years in this career, I have picked up a number of tips and tools that I use in managing behaviors. I will also share that I have a child who has autism and frequently displays undesired behaviors. So I have really learned to implement behavior strategies with the support of some amazing behavior specialists over my son's 14 years on this earth. So a lot of what I will share with you in this workshop are things that I have learned to support my own child. So in this workshop, we are going to talk about the relationship between behavior and communication, and there's a strong tie there, as I'm sure you would imagine. We'll talk about possible causes of undesired behaviors. We're going to consider Maslow's hierarchy in understanding behaviors and thinking about how we can manage those behaviors. We'll talk about approaches to managing behaviors. And one of the pieces that we're going to think a lot about in this workshop is the function of the child's behavior. Why are they exhibiting the behavior? What are they after? And that's a really critical piece for us in managing behaviors, is understanding what the child is using that behavior for. Sometimes that's really easy to figure out, and sometimes it takes us a little time to figure that out. We'll talk about the complete behavioral learning trial, so the antecedent, what happens before a behavior, the behavior itself, and then the consequence, what happens after that behavior. What happens after a behavior can be either a punishment or a reinforcer. Punishments decrease behaviors, reinforcers increase behaviors. So one of the things that is really important for us to know is that reinforcers are more powerful than punishments. So we want to find behaviors that are desired and reinforce those behaviors, because that's going to help move us to more desired behaviors. We'll talk about accommodations and modifications in this workshop. We'll talk about ways to analyze behaviors and a number of behavior interventions. And at the end, we're going to wrap this up with case studies where you'll get to see firsthand how we implement the analyses and the behavioral interventions. So let's get started.